Good morning, and my name's Mark Cripe. I'm from Lafayette Church of the Brethren, and I want to thank you for having me here at Timbercrest this morning, and thank you, Marie, for inviting me. Thank you, Jeanette, for the music, and Dennis for providing technical support. This is my first time at being here at Timbercrest, and can't say I know exactly what I'm doing, so it will be what I do. My wife, Ann, is with me today. We've been married for 39 years, and we have two grown daughters. Molly is married to Nathan, and they live near us out by West Lafayette. And Hannah, my younger daughter, is married to Sean, and they have a 2-year-old daughter, Hazel, and live in Savannah, Georgia, and they are expecting a son in March. So we're excited about having our second grandchild and being able to be there for the birth. The verse I had picked today is Ecclesiastes 3:1. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. And for those in my generation, we remember the birds singing, turn, turn, turn. I won't go through all the rest of the verses of Ecclesiastes, the happy and the sad, but what I wanted to talk about today was time. My father was a jeweler, a watchmaker, and he always had two questions for me. Where's my hat and where's my watch? I don't know why he cared about my hat. I suppose he thought if I didn't have a hat, I was going to be sick. But I knew that the watch was important. Time was important to Dad. He wanted me to wear a watch, I think, to advertise his business, but he also wanted me to be on time and show the value of having an accurate timepiece. So when I didn't have a watch on, it was, Mark, where's your watch? Some years ago, well, I should tell you, my father died about 9 years ago. And although we weren't close in the Hallmark kind of way, father, son, we loved each other, and in a quiet kind of way. Dad didn't talk a lot. And when I would visit him, we would sometimes just sit. But we were close in that way, and I know we both loved each other. But anyway, Dad had given me a mantle clock some years ago. And when I took it home, I could never keep it running. And I would tell Dad I couldn't keep it running, and he'd take it back to the shop, and he would say it ran fine, and we'd put it back on the washstand in our front room, and it wouldn't run. And so for a good number of years, it just sat there idle. And a few years ago, I took it down to my reading room in the basement. And as I was setting it down, the pendulum started to swing, and it never stopped. And so now I have a clock that's been running for a long time in my reading room. And the sound of the clock brings back memories to me of being at my grandma Cripe's house as I would stay there after I got out of grade school while Dad was still working. And I'd lie on the couch or sit in the green rocking chair that she had. And if we weren't talking or watching Wagon Train on television, I'd listen to the sound of the ticking clock. And so that sound also brings back memories of being in Dad's shop. He often had clocks that he was working on to make sure that they were keeping accurate time. And so you could always hear the sound of a ticking clock in his jewelry store. Or later, when he sold his jewelry store, he still did clock repair out of a little barn that he had behind his house. And so that sound of a mechanical clock ticking brings back memories to me. He also worked on mechanical watches, and it was always a treat for him when children came into the store that he'd hold up his watch to their ear and want them to listen to the ticking sound. So for the last few years, I've been thinking a lot about time. I retired about 2.5 years ago, and always knew that I wanted to do some type of volunteer service work, but didn't know what. And then COVID put the kibosh on that. And the month that I retired, I became acutely aware of how precious time was and that it was drifting away from me. Time to me is the currency of life, and how we spend that currency defines the life we live. From the instant we are born, our days are numbered. We don't know how much time we have, but we're certain that the amount is finite. like the grains of sand passing through the hourglass. Once the moment passes, it's gone, and there's no going back and doing it again. Gone is gone. All the time we have left is like the sand at the top of the hourglass, always diminishing, passing through the neck of the hourglass. That's the one thing about time. We can't save it. We talk about saving time, but all we can do is spend time. And how we spend it is what's important. I remember as a young man telling Dad that I could not wait until the weekend so that I could go out and have fun with my friends. And he would say, "Why do you want to wish your life away?" It didn't make much sense back when I was 18 or 19. Time seemed to be endless. Now I think I better understand, and I'm working to make the most of each moment and to be thankful that I have it to live. Dad went to watchmaking school in Kansas City, Missouri after World War II. He became friends with another classmate, Wendell Nordby. Wendell lived up in Rushford, Minnesota, which is in the southeast corner of the state, not on the Mississippi River, but it nestled in the bluffs of that part of the country. And through the years, they kept in touch through letters and on several occasions with in-person visits. Wendell died a few years ago, and sometime before that, Anna and I had stopped to visit for a short while with his children. They shared with us a picture of Wendell working on a watch, which reminded me of my dad, the eye loops that he had on his glasses, and he was bent down with a screwdriver over a watch working. And they told us about a poem that he had kept in his shop. And I don't know if thoughts about time drew men like Dad and Wendell into watchmaking, or if watchmaking and clocks led them to think about time. But certainly they did, and Wendell had a poem written that he always kept above his workbench. Regardless, both men had wisdom to share about time, and so I want to read you the poem that Wendell had above his workbench. It was written by Robert H. Smith. The clock of life is wound but once, and no man has the power to tell just when the hands will stop, or at late or early hour. To lose one's wealth is sad indeed. To lose one's health is more. To lose one's soul is such a loss that no man can restore. The present only is our own, so live, love, toil with a will. Place no faith in tomorrow, for the clock may then be still. This poem reminds me of the struggles in my own life dealing with time, that what seemed to be endless as a child is a blink of an eye now. And there's a sense of urgency to do what needs to be done in the present. I told you that I wanted to do some spatial volunteer work in retirement, and so didn't really know exactly what that would be, but have spent some time considering doing work in ministry. And Tim and Donna helped me discern that last fall in 2021, that perhaps I should enter into licensed ministry. And after meeting with the calling cohort for some time, that was the conclusion that I came to. But after that, I had taken a course at Bethany Theological Seminary related to peacekeeping, using the book of Romans as a tool for peacekeeping. And then in May, I took another course on mediation. And I really got hooked on learning at Bethany and applied to be studying for a Master of Divinity. That seems like kind of an odd thing to do for a man that's 67, but that's what I've done. And this whole past year, while I've been learning, I've put off filling out the paperwork for licensed ministry. And then I'm thinking, the grains of sand in my hourglass are passing through day by day, and I don't know how much time I have left. Am I spending my time studying when I should be serving? And so this is the dilemma that I've been thinking about and have come to the conclusion that I can do both at the same time. And so I finished up my classwork just a couple days ago. And so by the end of December, I'll do the paperwork. But I'm sure if my dad were with me today, he would say, Mark, don't waste the moment. You know, you have today in front of you, don't waste it. I'll try not to have regrets over the past year, but there is a sense of urgency now of moving forward. So the grains of sand in your hourglass are trickling by day too. Are you enjoying and relishing in each moment of the day? That's the gift that God has given you today, is the moment. We don't know how many tomorrows we have, but we're experiencing today. And so our challenge is to make the most of every moment as we spend that currency of lifetime, so that we are honoring God in what we're doing. We're realizing that God is with us every step of the way and in the present moment. And I'm speaking to people that I think probably know this better than me. And it turns out to be a confession to you of what I'm discovering. But hopefully that is useful to you as well. So I wanted to end, being a child of the 60s and 70s, I wanted to end with just a short prayer that was part of a song that was real popular from the movie Godspell. So if you would bow with me in prayer. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. Amen. And so if you would turn in your hymnal to page 11, let's sing about the sweet hour of prayer while we're talking about time. Let's sing about that time in prayer that we spend with God. I'm going to step away from the microphone. And so as we leave today, may you enjoy and cherish each moment of this day, and God bless you. Thank you for having me.